Oh, fuck. Alright, I think we are live. Welcome to the show. Definitely forgot my mic. But real quick, today we're going to be talking about no theater. I didn't write this book. No theater. I went to a super secret workshop out in Hiroshima. They gave us this paper to basically explain the different aspects of no theater you typically don't get to hear about or learn about. So we're going to get into that. I'm going to grab my mic. Thank you guys for joining again. And we also have some other masks that I hope to showcase to you today. So yes, welcome Terry. Long time. Long time no talk. I'm gonna grab my mic real quick. Be back in 30 seconds. Count it down. Alright, and we're back. That was 30 seconds. Alright, please, people on Instagram, let me know if my mic is on. Can you hear me? YouTube people, what is up? People, can you hear me? Alright, everything's good on the YouTube side. Thank you for joining. We are here to talk about no theater. So I'm just going to start off with a real quick story. The first time I saw, if you're not aware of what no theater is, I'll show you some images here. This is no theater. No theater. It's a theater. It's a form of theater. 700 years of history. It is the oldest continuous form of theater. Oh, welcome. We got people from the Ritz. Welcome to the show. We're here talking about Japanese no theater. There is a park, Ohori Park in Fukuoka. There is a special designated no theater in Ohori Park in Fukuoka. If you have not had a chance yet, please go and watch no theater. If you like performance art, art in motion, do yourself a favor and go check it out. So, real quick story. I was getting a history about no theater, but how did I meet no theater? 2011, I'm 19. I took some magic mushrooms. Oh, I have to get to Japan. I'm a university student in the US. Took 10 years of karate as a child, 8 to 18. Alright. That deep seed of Japanese culture has been planted. Moved from Jacksonville to Orlando for university. 2 years into university, sophomore slump hits. What am I doing? I'm studying dentistry, but this is the best years of my life. I must go out and explore. Took some mushrooms with my roommate. 3 grams, pretty solid dose. Open up. This is how my brain looked. It looked like this color here. This lamp in the back. Oh wow, good euphoria. Things are walls of breathing. Music is amazing. Had a good time. But the best thing that came from that trip was that the next day I woke up super energized, super motivated, inspired. Yes, the seed that was planted from karate sprouted. And I said, I gotta get to Japan. So I did everything in my power, hit up the family, contacted all types of different organizations, and eventually I got there. 19, super grateful for my grandmother coming through, helping support the mission, etc. Come to Japan, travel all over through an organization called WOOF. If you're not familiar with WOOF, it's WWOOF. Volunteering on different farms, B&Bs, cafes, etc. Basically helping out local Japanese families, entrepreneurs, artists, build their projects, working for free, but in exchange you get that cultural exchange as well as language. A lot of people that come to Japan try to learn Japanese through schools. I spend my time with locals speaking everyday conversations, etc. Welcome, Barbara. Speaking about no theater today. Japanese no theater, like this. But yeah, that was my first instance of Japan. 19 years old, completely green, no idea what is going on, etc. Wow, I dropped like 4 etc's in 30 seconds. Thank you. Eventually, I come to work in Hiroshima. Small island, maybe like a couple thousand people. It's called Osaki Kamijima. If you go on YouTube today, you can check out the first time I was on TV in Japan. 19 years old. Basically, the local Hiroshima TV network came out to film this woman running a renovation project. She moved from Tokyo, retired police officer, got divorced. Oh, I want to start a new life. She's like upper 30s, buys an old 80-year-old house and wants to renovate it, start a cafe, etc. I saw her project on the WOOF website. It's Worldwide Opportunities on Organic Farms. As long as you're running a project that has something to do with the local community, it wasn't all farms, but as long as you're supporting the local community, you could open a project. This woman, her name is Louis-san, L-O-U-I-S. Obviously, that's not her real name. She's Japanese. She took on a French name because she did ballet, etc. I don't want to get too far into the weeds. But she wanted to start her life over. She had gotten into a rut. Japanese woman, 38. I'm like, at this time, I'm 19. And I saw her project. I thought it was super interesting, and I saw that she just started. And I thought, I like going from 0 to 1. I like to start new stuff. So for me, this was amazing. I was like, all right, let's get it done. Sign up for her project. Again, it's free as long as you work 4 hours a day. In exchange, you get bedding, or I should say accommodation and food, as well as that cultural exchange. Invaluable, in my humble opinion. You can't get that anywhere else. Yeah. Worked there for a couple weeks. One of Louis-san's friends, her name was Kana. She basically spent 6 months in Australia traversing the deserts, living on apples. That's what she told me, and I believed her because her skin was pretty bad. So I think she experienced what Steve Jobs went through when he did that fruit diet, like all that acid, etc. Anyway, she tells me about a vipassana experience. 10 days silent retreat in the mountains. 8 hours a day, you're just meditating, you're not doing anything else. I said, that sounds amazing. That's my next stop. Again, I'm a university student volunteering in Japan. I want to make the most of my time. I finish up my stint at this Hiroshima project with Louis-san. We end up building her cafe from zero, like literally scraping off glue from the concrete floor from the past business that it was. So she bought a cafe. She has her 80-year-old house. We're renovating her house at times, as well as getting the shop ready to open. And I meet Kana. Project, I move on after a month. Go to Kyoto to experience this because I ended up spending 6 weeks this first time in Japan. And again, I'm green, I'm lost, I want to explore. I'm young, I'm 19, I'm trying to understand who I am. I thought this silent day retreat would be amazing. And so I go to this silent day retreat. Okay, now I realize why it was kind of choppy. Is that 19 is the first time I met Louis-san. But I went to her place many times over a 3-year period because I went back and forth during university. So, welcome Marta. We're talking about Japanese no theater. The second time I went to Louis-san's house, I was 21. That's when I met Kana. That's when I went to Kyoto to follow up on her suggestion of that Vipassana silent day meditation retreat. And I went. It was amazing. That's not what I'm talking about. On the way there, I watched a Japanese movie on my laptop on the bus. It was called The Transient Life. And in that movie, a no theater mask pops up. Super weird scene. We're not going to get into it here. But in that scene, I was struck with the intensity of the no masks the two characters were wearing. And from that moment, I was like, what is this mask? What is this? Search it. Find out it's a 700-year-old art form. What we're talking about today. And I said, I gotta go watch some of these masks on stage. I mean, look how intense that is. This is a young woman. Or maybe this one is this one is not as young as the one I saw at first, but I'll show you a young woman. Young woman, but still intense, spooky, paranormal vibes. And I said, I gotta go watch that. I gotta go see that on stage. And so I went to Tokyo after that 10-day meditation retreat and saw a no theater performance for the first time. 2012. Amazing. Still, that was over 10 years ago. All started from meditation retreat, because the meditation retreat was about, obviously it's based on Buddhism. That led to me downloading this movie. Shout out to Pass the Popcorn, if you know what I'm talking about. If you know, you know. The movie is called The Transient Life, literally the foundation of what Buddhism is about. It's all transient, everything is passing, don't get attached, etc. Watch no theater, get in fast your car, watch the mask in that movie, see the mask in that movie, end up wanting to watch no theater in person, booking a performance, going to watch it, getting blown out of the water. When I went to watch that theater play in Tokyo, I felt like I was tripping on mushrooms again, just like that time back in university. It was a full circle moment. The same caps that basically ruptured my thinking and broke my brain, erupted everything, all those deep seeds that I planted back with my 10-year stint in karate, all of it coming roaring to the surface because of those small magical caps, all coming back, culminating in that moment, me sitting in the theater seat, watching these actors on stage with these wooden masks, bringing characters that are not of this world to life in front of me with weird drums and flutes and humming. I still cannot forget that moment. I felt like I was tripping. This is why I highly recommend anybody that has not seen no theater play, do yourself a favor. Go watch Japanese no theater. Welcome, welcome. It is something that you will not regret, especially if you like art or performance art, even if you like something like Broadway. I'm wondering if this audio on Instagram is working. Japanese no theater. It is something you must do. Something you must spend your time watching. This is what we're here to talk about. Japanese no theater. Just told a quick story of how I first encountered Japanese no theater back in 2012. Now we'll move on to the next segment of the show, which is talking about the basics. I got this pamphlet from a secret workshop for foreigners in Hiroshima on Itsukushima Shrine. Or I should say it's an island, but it's a famous shrine. If you ever see any tourist spots videos about Japan, there is always this red shrine in the water. That is Miyajima. That is Itsukushima Shrine. And I got invited to a super secret workshop. It was not a secret workshop, but it was exclusive. Inclusive. Exclusive. Exclusive is a word. Basically, they had no theater performers come and explain all of the small details about no theater you don't get. Welcome, Hitak. Long time no see. This is what we're talking about today. Japanese no theater. Got invited to this workshop. No theater performers that dedicate years of their life to performing this art come to us to explain, to us foreigners to explain, which is why all this is written in English, to explain the basics of no, because just like a no mask carver that I interviewed in Osaka spoke about, most people in Japan are not very familiar with, no, actually. They might be aware of the mask, but they've never actually seen a play. It's actually people abroad that are more interested in no theater. Welcome, Kim. Long time no see. Kim is from Busan. I met Kim back in maybe 2018 in Fukuoka. And when I went to Busan, she showed me around her town. So thank you very much, Kim. 감사합니다. Yeah. So the artisan that I interviewed who makes masks spoke about this, that Japanese people always want a manual. Actually, like this, the manual. Something that breaks everything down about a specific topic, which is what this is. It literally is a manga to help people understand No in a easy to read format with pictures and cats as hosts. And they explain each piece. The reason I'm reading this in Japanese is because there are certain things that are not spoken about in a workshop like this. This is more a broad overview. This goes very deep and specific. But again, this mask carver artisan out in Osaka, who's been doing this for like 50, 60 years, basically said, Japanese people, if they don't have this, they're not going to be interested because they want to know all the stuff. Specifically for me, I can't speak for other Westerners, but typically we are more able to enjoy something like no theater without actually understanding what is going on, because the language is archaic. It's classic Japanese. Just think Shakespeare. Japanese people that watch it need a translation into modern Japanese to understand what the hell they're talking about. And they sing about you don't know what it's work. The words they say are spread out into long syllables that you just don't know what it means. Even still, it hit me in the chest. Especially those slow movements with the drums that have that space between them. I spoke about this in another live, but it's the ma, which is that space between time. Basically, that's like, it's that interval between space and time that you just have to feel. You have to be in that environment to understand it and feel it. And I felt that. And it's probably because I didn't understand the specifics that all I could do was listen with all of my senses. And that's what I got. That actually, the mask carver mentions this. He calls it kansei, which is like feeling with all your senses. And that's what I did, man. I just felt it in my bones. I felt it in my bones. No theater. So that's the basic introduction of how I came to know about No. Yeah, you like that one. Alright, so we'll get into this workshop that I went to. Now, No, there are two parts. No in Kyogen. I'm not a big fan of Kyogen. It's more comedy. The masks are kind of silly. I can even show you some of the masks here. And the reason that I don't like it is because I don't understand the language. You basically have to understand what they're saying and follow the conversation to understand the humor, right? Whereas with No, I can just vibe to the music, the slow movements, the mask, the dancing. Kyogen, on the other hand, you gotta know what the hell they're talking about. And, you know, maybe you can like follow along with some of the people that are laughing in the audience, but it still doesn't feel right. Let me see if I can find the most obvious one. Like, yeah, you look at this, you can see like that's pretty silly. This is a Kyogen mask. There we go, Kyogen. Very silly. Much different than No, which is like, alright, that's what you expect from No Theater. Something a little bit more serious and paranormal. Kyogen is about that humor, although they do have similar topics. But again, let me describe some of the specifics mentioned in that workshop that I went to on that super secret island exclusive workshop for foreigners in Japan to understand and explore the intricacies of No Theater. Let me just give you the brief overview. Oh, right here, perfect. No is a stage performance. More than that, it has retained its basic form even today, being passed down from the past while responding to the conditions and needs of each era. It is one of the world's oldest stage performing arts. I've seen sources that say it is the oldest. There are some 250 No plays. And Kyogen. So two types of Kyogen. There is Hon Kyogen and Ai Kyogen. Hon Kyogen is a folksy comedy play with an independent storyline used to depict the life of commoners. Many stories of commoners used to reflect a past world and society. They are easy for people to assimilate and understand, except for me, because I don't understand the classic Japanese these people on stage are talking about. Even in the modern day, this type of play still has its charming colors, allowing many people to share that sense of everyday life. So maybe the average Japanese person may need a guide to understand Kyogen, or to understand No, but they may be able to walk in from the street into a Kyogen play and get the general gist of it. I, however, cannot. Again, I've lived in Japan coming in August 10 years. I can get around conversational fluency, etc. My goal is native fluency. But it's different. They're singing Japanese. Like, nah, I do not understand. I'm sorry. Let me just check here on this side. Basics of Kyogen. Yes, so maybe they need the average Japanese person needs a guide to understand. That's my rice cooker. That's just finished. I cooked some brown rice. Gonna have dinner after this. If you don't eat brown rice, what are you doing? Protein, whole grains. You feel more full. All these people in Japan saying white rice tastes better, sweeter. What? Get you some brown rice. Brown rice. Okay, so Kyogen. Two different types of Kyogen. Average person probably could walk from the street and understand it. I cannot. It's basically comedy, folksy, two different types. Hon Kyogen is more about daily lives of commoners. Ai Kyogen, on the other hand, provides an introduction of characters, explanation of the story development during a No play. They are sometimes even used to make the story more interesting and exciting. A majority of this type of play serves as a bridging act connecting the first and second parts of a No play. Makes a lot of sense. I often invite friends to No Theater and say, oh, Do you guys want to go watch 5 hours of people wearing masks like this? On stage, dancing slowly, speaking, humming. Everybody says, no thank you. Because first of all, it's like 4 to 5 hours. You're going to have to dedicate 4 to 5 hours of your day to go watch this. Part of that is not, it's not all no. No, it's broken up and sequestered with kyogen. You gotta give people a break. It's too serious sometimes. We can also speak about how you feel when you watch no, but you gotta get the pacing right. So you gotta know, you got the mask, low dancing, deep humming. Whoa, whoa, the drums and the flutes, and you're transported to another space and time. But you gotta bring people back to reality. Stories of commoners, comedy show, people on stage with these silly masks that I showed you before. Kyogen, welcome Maki-san, long time no see. どうですか？インスタグラムの人たち、ちゃんと聞こえますか？ I'm gonna write an actual comment here. I'm wondering if people can hear me properly on this. 聞こえますか? 聞こえますか? Yeah, because I plugged my mic in halfway through the live. So you might not be able to hear me. Hear me. Alright, so like I was showing you before, this is this is Kyogen. This is Kyogen. Look at this. It's like a fat lady. Actually, who is this? Otogoze. He just talks more about. Yeah, it doesn't really explain. It's actually more about the marker. Miho-san, welcome! Miho-san! お久しぶりでございます。あれ、Miho-san、神戸のMiho-sanですか？今、神戸は暑いでしょうか？We're here talking about no theater and the differences between no and Kyogen. Kyogen is super funny for people that can understand. No is more serious. Alright, let's see here. Alright, we can actually go into a little bit of how No was born. Because when you say 700 years of history, that's insane, right? So, very quick rundown of history. I know a lot of people don't like history, but it's interesting. Middle of the 6th century, Gagaku was brought to Japan from China. At the same time, a variety of folk arts known as Sangaku also came flowing in. Gagaku, which is still performed today, is a form of music that I like. A lot of people don't like it. If you watch the anime Akira, you will know Gagaku music. It's from the Heian period, same period that Genji Monogatari, the tale of Genji, who are what some people say is the first novel written in history, the first novel that we know as what novels are today, written in the 1400s, same era that Gagaku was popularized, Heian era. So Gagaku was still, which is still performed today by the Imperial Household Agency, was quite the opposite to Sangaku, a collection of popular arts, including various types of performing arts and tricks. Sangaku went on to spread among the common people over time. During that process, it combined with ancient Japanese arts, became popular as Sarugaku, which I think most people would understand that that's the origin of no theater. Sarugaku. During the Kamakura period in the first half of the 14th century, two other types of performing arts also became popular. One was dengaku, born out of agricultural rituals, and the other was ennen, a temple banquet performance by monks after a Buddhist ceremonial meeting. These various genres of performing arts, dances, and songs were intermixed sometime during the period from the Nambo Kocho era, around the middle of the 14th century, as I said, to the beginning of the Muromachi period, latter half of the 14th century, to become no. So you can see it transformed over time. No! That's actually how I should start my lives from now on. No! I know it should be. No. Okay. Oh shit. Alright. During the Muromachi period, Kanami and his son Seiyami developed this prototype into a comprehensive form, which incorporated music, chant, dance, and storytelling into a form which came to be known as No. So most people understand Seiyami made the current form of No, but a lot of people don't talk about his father, Kanami, which we can get into down the line. But yeah, I think that's why I like No so much. It's the fact that it's a combination of all these art forms, and probably why I love movies as well and aspire to be a director, to make films based on my books. And with the advent of AI, I think I can make that happen like this. Full feature film. Alright. In addition, elements of Nara and Heian period literature, like we spoke about Genji Monogatari, or The Tale of Genji, were added. No reaches climax as a refined and high-level stage performance recognized and protected by Shogun Ashikaga Yoshimitsu, who was in power at the time. After the collapse of the Muromachi shogunate, from the latter half of the 15th century to the 16th century, we're here talking about Japanese No theater for people that are just joining Japanese No theater, how I came to know it, why it feels like you're tripping on magic mushrooms when you watch this 700-year-old art form. Do yourself a favor, go watch No theater next time you're in Japan, or if you have access to YouTube, type it in and you'll see why it feels like a psychedelic trip. When the arrival of the Edo period, early 17th century, No became a ceremonial performance of the shogunate government. And if you're watching, if you've seen recently, Shogun, very popular series on Hulu and Disney Plus, you can go check that out. I enjoy it a lot. So when I say shogunate, that's what we're talking about. The shogun, the top dog, not the emperor, but the warrior top dog. No continued to be treasured, protected by different warlords during the Sengoku and Azuchi Momoyama periods. With the arrival of the Edo period, early 17th century, No became a ceremonial performance of the shogunate government. Wow, an officially approved performance. So it was an art form that the top people in Japan said, we want you to do this officially on our behalf. That's how much it was respected. And most people will, underrate No today. Oh, they're just slowly moving across stage. They're covering their faces and they're singing nonsensical stuff that we don't understand. Listen, people back in the day, emperors, shogun, and top people in the government said, no, the people need to understand and experience this art form. With the final establishment of 5 schools for the main shite role, went on to be further refined and established for nearly 300 years. The existence of No was threatened when the shogunate could no longer protect it due to the Meiji Restoration. latter half of 19th century. It received support from nobles, former domain lords, high-level bureaucrats, rich merchants, and the like, and went on to prosper further. Yeah, okay. So that is the basic flow of how No came to be. First instance was of Gagaku from China brought to Japan, which is that ceremonial imperial music form that you can hear in the anime Akira. Super high pitched like horns and stuff like that, but I feel energized when I listen to it. After that got transformed into some folk arts known as sangaku, which basically is a collection of different art forms and music. Sangaku, the common people got to enjoy those folk arts and music. And eventually that sangaku got combined with traditional Japanese art, ancient Japanese arts, and became sarugaku. Saru is monkey. And so there was a lot of, and if you know Dragon Ball Z Son Goku, that's based off the ancient Monkey King story from China. Dragon Ball Z, popular anime in Japan. You can see a lot of the history in Japan. A lot of the anime and the stories are from ancient China. Anyway, Gagaku, Sangaku, common people. Oh, but wait! Japanese traditional arts. Boom! Now we are called Sarugaku. Sarugaku went on to become Dengaku, which is originally agricultural rituals. People used to dance, oh, more harvest, more rice, etc. And eventually those all became mixed in the middle of the 14th century. And No became born at the end of the 14th century, which is basically end of the 14th century is we ended 1300, which is like, we'll just call it 14. Yeah, it's like 700 years, right? Or maybe between 650 and 70. Yeah. Alright, we don't do public math here. But 657, 700. Let me see if they actually have an official number in here. Alright, perfect. Japan's No and Kyogen is one of the only stage arts in the world to have been passed down from generation to generation, parent to child, child to grandchild, and master to disciple in an unbroken line for over 650 years. Whoa! That's insane. Also, No was designated an intangible cultural heritage, a masterpiece of oral and intangible heritage of humanity by UNESCO. Come on, what are you doing? Spend time to understand and go experience this art form. I'm sure you'll see something within yourself that you didn't know was there before. That's how I felt. Just like with any psychedelic trip, No theater ruptured. Just opened up the rib cage, just like that. Bah! Organs open. No, it opened me spiritually. And I really want to build a theater. I haven't said this publicly before, but I want to start and build a theater in Itoshima. A No theater that is not just traditional, it's combined with digital art forms, modern lighting, modern digital art, holograms, projection mapping. All of that stuff I want to combine with this 650-year-old art form. Now I can see why they say 700 years, because 650 doesn't quite roll off the tongue. But yeah. Alright, let's get into some no mask you can collect at home. If you're interested in buying any of these masks, simply go to brandonchin.net, order directly from there, check out the gallery. There are different masks available. They are retailing at 5,000 US dollars. I understand for most people that is not within their budget, but for the collectors that have that budget, I appreciate that you understand these masks have a long history behind them, as well as decades of human years people dedicate to mastering the art form of carving the mask. It takes 2 months to carve, by the way, from one single block of wood. All representing dead and paranormal people in Japan. Although on stage they do have the distinction between who is alive and who is dead on stage, but that's for another time. So I'm going to show you, obviously, the most well-known and popular mask, the Ko-omote. Ko-omote. Now, of course, this is back in the day, so kind of strange philosophy, but she is a representation of purity. 16-year-old female virgin. It's a little bit uncomfortable. I get it. Welcome to the live. We're here talking about Japanese no theater mask, and if you want to collect brandonchin.net, you can get one for your house, for your business, for your family and loved ones. 16-year-old representation of purity. Really amazing mask. Currently, I have one in my personal collection that is currently on display in the country of Georgia in Eastern Europe. I have a friend, Dutch friend, that is married to a Japanese woman, professional dancers. He joined the second live. If you go on my YouTube or Instagram, you can check out the second live where I'm interacting with him on the live about the mask that I have displayed in his rental property in Georgia. It's a huge rental property that attracts all types of luxury clients, and I said, yeah, let's link it up. And it's currently on display, on sale there, but again, I have connections with the artisan, with the carver in Osaka that spent 60 years of his life dedicated to carving and creating these faces from a single block of wood. And if you want any of these masks, he has a huge stock that I can pull from at any time. This is an older woman. If you look closely at the hairlines, you can see the more hairlines there are, the older the woman. That's how they distinguish. And yeah, this is called So-onna. And you can see that since old times, So-onna has had the opposing aspects of gentleness and firmness. The present work is a mask with a gentle appearance. So it depends on the carver. This is written by a super well-known carver in Kyoto, Otsuki Kokun. Otsuki Kokun. Otsuki Kokun. Yeah. But what do you guys think? Gentle, firm? Do you see that in this face? Gentle and firm. That's the thing with no theater masks. They always display two emotions simultaneously. That's what I love about this thing. It's not just happy, not just mad, not just sad, not just passionate, not just gentle, not just firm. Two emotions at the same time, all depending on the angle that you, actors I should say, not us, because we don't do that. We're not on stage dancing now. I can show you an example. The way they angle their faces like this. On stage, all of this determines what emotion they are displaying at the time. Right? And yeah, I don't think they do this. That's more Kilgan. That's what we're talking about. The comedy Kilgan is more like this, right? But you can see, like, it's haunting, right? It's haunting. And you can see I got, this is 3D printed, right? That is how you write my last name. Chin. In kanji. Yeah, that has nothing to do with anything, but I thought it looked pretty cool. Got this 3D printed. You can see I've had tape up here. I was trying to tape it onto a frame. It didn't go quite well. Now I just have it propped up. But like I was saying, the angle of the face. And it's something we do in person too. Keiko-san, welcome to the stream. We're talking about Japanese no theater. Yes. The way that you angle your face specifically determines what type of emotion the actor is trying to emit, show you. Ooh. That is, I mean, it makes sense. That's what that's not Japanese people. That's what everybody does as a human being. Oh, this is gonna not want to stay up. That's what we do as humans, right? Like, we move our faces up and down. Like, I mean, let me see if I can do it here in the camera. Yeah, this looks angry, right? Like, or even some people. It all depends on the angle. And the thing with, obviously with no mask, the mask does not move. It's a mask. And so it's all in the subtlety. The difference with like a Broadway play or any other type of theater is that it's all about subtlety. I went to a recent performance in Fukuoka where the guy, it was a smaller performance actually in the city, not in the traditional theater you would typically see it, but it was a guy that built a no theater in his, I don't know if it's his home, but his place of business. Privately owned no theater stage, which is not very common and quite expensive. It's literally a roof inside. Actually, I might have a picture in here. But that guy basically was saying the lack of movement is the movement. The subtlety is the emotion. Oh, they do have it. Nice. This is what I'm talking about. That is the, look at that. It's a real roof that is in a room. Like, if you imagine this room, and then there's a roof right here. That's just on top. So, ようこそようこそノーティールについて話してます。能楽について話してます。 Yeah, actually, we can speak a little bit about this. Actually, how the No Theater stage is set up. It's everything in No Theater has meaning behind it. But real quick, let me give you it was not until after the Meiji period that the outdoor No Theater stage was brought indoors, right? And the roof we see now is a way of remembering the past of No Theater, right? So there's Takigi no is when it's performed outside by firelight at night, which is amazing. But that is how No Theater was originally performed. It was eventually brought inside, and I'm sure weather and stuff like that had something to do with that. But or maybe it was actually American influence, Western influence, because that is what the Meiji period is. Western people coming in and saying, "Listen, this is how you gotta change things." And Japan obviously being open to that and adapting and accepting, and we gotta modernize with the West, etc. Oh yeah, okay. So if you have a chance to actually see No Theater, check it out on YouTube or see it in person. You will see where the actors come from. They come from that Kagami no Ma, which is basically a rainbow sheet that is lifted and people walk out and slide onto stage. That represents, okay, actually I'll just read it. This is the room at the back behind Kagami no Ma, or the mirror room. This is a room at the back behind the Agemaku curtain with a large mirror provided. It serves as a sacred zone where the actors make their final preparation and adjustments. No masks are also worn and removed right here. So that's the room behind the thing. Then you get the Agemaku multicolored curtain. This curtain is raised and lowered by 2 koken using bamboo sticks attached to it to accommodate the entrance and exit of the actors. Behind this curtain at the back is an area called the Kagami no Ma. So koken is just the stagehands. But yeah, it represents this. It didn't really speak about it, but it represents the separation. Oh, Hana no Farm, yokoso! 久しぶりです。ありがとうございます。今、農学について話してます。So that colored curtain represents the separation between reality and the dream world. Or I should say the earth and a different world. So people coming in from etc. Oh, Kokoro-san, yokoso. 農学について話してます。It's a separation, a colored sheet that people walk through. Now I'm on earth. So a lot of people coming from heaven or wherever, different world, coming onto earth to talk to people on the stage in different scenarios, etc. That entrance, they walk along this bridgeway right here. Look at that bridgeway. Welcome. Hello, Kokoro. We're speaking about No Theater. 能楽見たことありますか? It's called the Hashigakari. It is a bridgeway, obviously, and it is the passageway to allow actors to enter and leave the stage, and as an extension to the main stage, an important performing space. So that entrance is super important. Super slow walking. Can you imagine? Just like these masks. Someone donning like this old woman. And like just sliding onto the stage. Coming from a different reality to Earth. with the mask on, sliding across the hashigakari. And obviously the instruments, we didn't get time to speak about the instruments, but the instruments go just like this. Sliding on stage. Amazing entrance. I can't wait to see my next Mill Theater performance. We just hit 1 hour. That's all I got for you guys today. I appreciate you always for joining. See you on the next show. 能楽見たことないんですね、心さん. Thank you for joining. If you have something you want me to talk about in the next, let me know. PrayerAndChin.net if you want to buy one of those masks. Email me info@rawjapanart.com. If you have questions about the mask, it's a $5,000 purchase. I understand why you would want to do some research before that. Take care. See you on the next one.